allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Nice to see you. I'd like to call the meeting to order. I'd like to ask the Secretary Treasurer to call the roll.
William Parrish.
Present.
Ann Walker.
Here.
Edwin J. Warner.
Present.
William Pell is present. Scott Howitz,
Here.
President. We're all here.
All right, thank you very much. Welcome, everybody, to our 1 o'clock, February 13th general session. Just for information, our next work session will be Monday, March 6th, 2023, 9:30 a.m. right here in Town Hall, followed by our regular meeting at 1 o'clock also on March 6th. We do have some minute acceptance. It is the special meeting that we called for January 26, 2023 at 9 a.m. Like a motion to accept.
Second.
Seconded, Trustee Pell. Those that were there in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we have some communications that we have received. Everybody should have gotten that information.
Is there anything we need to reiterate, Jess? Is there anything we need to read of these communications? Do you want to weigh in on anything?
I think these were more for the board to, you
Yep.
know,
Yeah, just,
internally deliberate on, and I think if somebody feels the need to bring that forward at the appropriate time, they could bring, these are letters going to the individual members for them to review and act on, and if there's something that generates, that needs to come to the board, it will end up on a discussion line at a later meeting.
perhaps the New York State,
DOT project?
Right, so
Yes.
I think, you know,
yep, we can discuss that further.
once
Yep.
we're prepared, this is more formality,
Yep, but
I
still.
think. Are we good with that?
Yes.
We'll bring that up later? Okay. All right, so I'll second dispensing of reading of that, otherwise we'll be here, I'll make a motion too. Will you second that?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye with that, okay. Let's get right to the discussions. I see that we have a rock star here today. We have our commercial aquaculture, Kim Tetrold from Cornell Cooperative Extension that is going to be making a presentation for the board. I know the trustees are very grateful to have such fabulous partners at Cornell. You know, we've been lucky with Stony Brook, with Cornell. We really,
Well, thank you. I don't want to be the guy that shows up to all your meetings and takes up all your time, so.
well, we're being as efficient as we can to give you a little
Yes,
more
no,
time.
that's great. But I am here to do what I do at the beginning of every aquaculture season, which is to prime the pump. Okay? So, I've been speaking with my program leaders of the Marine program, and they've allowed me to propose to you a formal partnership in this commercial aquaculture venture that the town is perched and ready to enact. And so, as you might know, I've been at Cornell 28 years, and 23 of them with the SPAT program, which is community aquaculture. That's nonprofit. It's 350 families now, 100 at Diana. And it's a training program. It's an educational and training program first and foremost. So the thought when a lot of this discussion was coming up, and I've been with Bart for a bunch of years, and I know he's was instrumental in my communication with you guys about commercial aquaculture, including the report that was written numerous years ago looking at the feasibility of commercial aquaculture in town waters. So while you were putting it in officially on the books, we were at a shellfish conference in Connecticut, where, by the way, they had a talk from UConn on the aquaculture workforce training program that they're initiating. And I looked over at him and it's like, they're gonna steal some thunder here or what? Who comes first? And the bottom line is, commercial aquaculture in town water, that's pretty unique. It happens some places, but not very many places. And the fact that it's now being opened up in Southampton is huge in my arena, and I'm very excited about it. I've been excited about it for 20 years. And now there's a momentum in the air that can happen with this program. So what I did when I started SPAT is similar to what I'm thinking we could maybe do with commercial aquaculture in Southampton, which is to offer up assistance in oversight, in coordination, in training, and any number of different things that can take this maybe off of your plate so that you don't have to worry if it's going to be enacted not responsibly. I think it's just there's a lot of things that can go haywire with something of a newish venture, because I think that's what you're looking for with aquaculture in town water. Isn't a bunch of commercial guys coming in to grab a plot, but new blood coming in to try aquaculture. And I think that's very special. It leads to things that can be very different than just a commercial aquaculture venture, including potentially a co-op, something that I always think of as being a utopian version of aquaculture, which is everybody does really well, including the town. And so, for all that I don't have in front of me today a formal plan, because this is more of asking if you're interested in a formal plan of how to move forward with commercial aquaculture. I would say that some of the things that we can offer up are full training programs that you could actually mandate to be required to get into the program. A bit of a vetting that you do the training program, as they are planning in Connecticut, by the way. There's a 9-week course that has to be completed by anybody coming into this new venture in Connecticut before they can go ahead and move forward. And it covers all aspects, and we could do any aspects. Cornell could, by the way, do this probably on our own like we did SPAT, but I think that that's not what we would be after. I think the town really wants to have, you have the jurisdiction of the water, you want the jurisdiction of the whole shooting match. But as far as the training and other things that we can do, we'd hope that Cornell could be a partner in it if you're so inclined to do that. And when I say so inclined, I mean at some point we're going to have to come up with the funding to do this, because it would be a full-time venture for somebody like it is for me at SPAT. That's my full-time job. So, you know, I'm priming the pump for you to think about if you're interested in a formal program for commercial aquaculture in Southampton town. And there's things that we can do with that, including coming up with any number of different menus of how far you want to go with this, from just getting people a pilot program on the sites to see how they do. We could provide a number of seed. We can't compete with commercial hatcheries for seed, but we could certainly give new members coming in 50,000 seed each as part of a membership that they'd have to pay into. We can certainly offer all the training. We can do the oversight, permitting processes, all of that is, we do that as a matter of course. I've started 14 oyster companies through SPAT. So a lot of the people came to SPAT first and then made the mistake of, then went into commercial aquaculture. Some of them survive, some of them don't. Take Billy Pell, for instance. You know what happens is the vertebrae go first. The brain goes much later, but the vertebrae go first. No doubt. Again, we've had a great partnership over many, many years, and this is something completely new for the town to go into this potential of how to run the program. And I think it could be a model for how other towns are going to want to do this. And there is no, it's funny because I listened to the Yukon approach to how they're going to do it. And we do this as a full-time thing. With SPAD, it's been 23 years of intensive training. And the commercial guys come and they get their feet wet and then they go on. And we could do that on a formal level with commercial. So that's my primer, and I leave it up to the trustees to decide if you want to move forward and how we move forward. There's any number of ways of doing that, including an open house. That's how I started SPAT. I had an open house. 80 people came, including a New York Times reporter, and we never looked back after that. And we never advertised. In 23 years, we've never advertised. And so we can get a good feel of it. And I think the beauty of it is we want this to be a shining star for the town and fun. Even though it's commercial, it still should be a good feeling, not something that people are struggling over. And we can make that happen. I'm sure we can make that happen. So that's my pitch, and I'm always around. You know, I'm always around. Ann has my speed dial, right? Because she's a SPAT member.
Well, thank you very much for the presentation. I know the town has been probably a dozen or so commercial ventures. I believe there's only 2 that have been very successful within the town. So that tells me that there's some issues. You bringing your expertise and your education to the commercial aspect of it, I think would really help out the program, because it would legitimize what we're doing, and it would also educate some people. I don't foresee commercial baymen jumping into this right away. I see more people that have done this SPAT program on a recreational basis, maybe looking towards a commercial venture on it. And there's a lot to it. The paperwork, getting the permits, that's quite the hurdle. And then doing it the right type of application, growing the SPAT and your product, tending to it, wintering it over. There's a lot to it, because I mean I've never done it personally, but I've seen it done on on a small scale and a large scale, and I could say there's a lot of work to it. So I personally think that it would be good for us to partner with you and having your expertise to oversight. I know our office is very limited to the staffing and the ability for the staff to do a lot of projects. And this is going to be, a small start, but eventually it could be a big finish. So, it's something I really passionately like, is bringing more shellfish to our waters. And we already work with you and the college in sanctuaries in Western Shinnecock Bay, where we're looking to kick off the SPAT program, the commercial aquaculture program. And we've taken some of the areas where you've put in some shellfish in, and the colleges put some in, and the governor's put some in with agreements with us. So it's an area we're looking to even furtherly enrich with shellfish.
Absolutely. There's a couple buzzwords. I had to look one up because I used to call it value added, but it's actually ecosystem services. And ecosystem services are going to come to the town whether the growers want to or not, because that's what shellfish aquaculture does. It provides all those ecosystem services. And the other thing that you brought up, and an important note on this, is you get to call the shots on this. You get to decide how you want this to be administered. And so because of that, I really see people coming in that aren't going to quit their day jobs, but still want to do this. And if in a utopian version of this, it's like a co-op where everybody can share a lot of different things, and we could look at how to enact that as far as facilities that get shared, a price fix so nobody's cutting each other, money back to the town with sales of shellfish. All of these things we as a group can decide how to enact it, and that's special, because that's not how most businesses work, so.
Right.
So I have a question, because it's my understanding that there are some commercial baymen that are interested in applying for the commercial aquaculture. So how do they fit into this plan?
Well, again, the key thing to always keep up front is you call the shots. So for instance, I got to thinking, well, how do we start this so that this could happen this year, this season? So if we just, and again, we can talk about this in other meetings, and we can fashion this and we can tailor it. But just as a for instance, let's say a new person comes in. They're charged $5,000 each as an entrance fee. They get 50,000 seed. They get all the training. They get the location. That right there might weed out some of the commercial aquaculture people that say, well, I'm not paying into this thing. I just want, when you get a county lease, I don't know what it is. It used to be $100 a year for the lease. That's chicken feed. Anybody could get it and not even work the property. Just get in the lottery, just pay your $100. It's yours, it's your name. If nobody's watching, because you're supposed to use it if you have it. You lose it, you use it or lose it. But, a lot of people just kind of, whatever. You get to decide if somebody has 5 acres, there's no doubt that town water is what I call in the commercial jargon, a hook. It's easier to work shallow, beautiful town water than it is to go 2 hours from your boat into muddy bottom in 20 feet of water. So it's prime, or it might be that they want it for a nursery zone or any of these things. So it is very valuable. So you have to decide how you're going to administer it starting off. And I would say, because it's the first year that it's going to happen, you might be very, very particular about that. Not just open up the floodgates and let all hell break loose, but to say, well, this is how we're doing it this year. We have 7 spots. We're going to have 7 entries. That's, if there's 15 people, now it's a lottery, but it could be a vetted lottery. It could be, you decide. This is priming the pump. You think about it. My wheels have been spinning and stoking the flames. And don't get me wrong when I say this. I personally have nothing to gain from this. My scene is happening. It's on automatic. I'm doing this because I've been doing aquaculture for 31 years. This is an incredibly unique and wonderful situation. I'd love to see it happen like the model, so that we can be in Washington, D.C. when they talk about how to do aquaculture in town water. They look at Southampton, what we did to do it. That's the bigger picture. But I think it's a real picture. I don't think it's smoke and mirrors. I don't sell snake oil. I never have. And a lot of people do. So we want to be special, and we can be special. So,
Well, you've certainly primed the pump.
well, as they say, as Serena says, the ball is in your court.
Well,
So just let me know what you want to do. Good game last night, everyone?
It was a great game, and teamwork makes the dream work, as you saw
Yes.
last night. And a good strategy, as you also saw last night, helped win that game.
Well,
right?
we're going to win this game.
So-
And I won't even have to break a vertebrae or twist an ankle to
I
get there.
I
but
appreciate that.
You let me know.
I
and
appreciate
we are
that.
always available.
And the good synergies that we've had,
Oh, yeah.
I've always credited a lot of the success that we've had on the bay with water quality and aspects, of the environment have
doubt.
been as a result of the good synergies that the trustees have in working with people.
Well, you know what's funny about that? A lot of, in my profession, you hear everybody always talking about the ecosystem services and never about commercial. Okay, this is a little twist on it, because we don't have to dwell on what it's going to do. We know what it's going to do for the environment. This is the other way around. How do we bring people into the workforce, give people some vibrancy, bring more shellfish in, And scallops are gonna be, you know, we can do polyculture, we could do anything.
And rib mussels.
We'll have to have some further discussion on it, because
You will.
to your point, you know, it could all go haywire too. So
Well-
you have a lot of moving parts, just, you know, you kind of talked about it at the beginning of the permitting and so forth, and that's why we really want to give it
Absolutely.
careful vetting and careful consideration so that it is successful, and having folks like yourself to collaborate with.
Absolutely, I
good.
couldn't agree more. You don't wanna see gear in the parking lot all over Italian. Oh,
No,
that wasn't my fault.
no.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kim.
All right, so we've got a lot to consider.
Yes, we
Great
do.
program now.
Like
All
every-
right, so we've also got a public hearing. Is this yours, Edward?
Yes, it is.
No, we do.
Notice of public hearing for Christopher Dunlap, 7 Trends Lane, Hampton Bays, New York, body of water, Shinnecock Bay. I'd like to open it up.
All right, I'll second it. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Okay, public hearing is open. Okay, for the applicant.
Applicant is Christopher Dunlap. I'm Clay Cofield, representing Christopher today. This is a continuation of what we did a month ago. Before I'd like to get into that, I would like to address some of the comments that were from the previous speaker. At my tenure with the DEC, we did extensive research on clams, tipperation, growing them, seeing people oversight of towns growing them. And I personally have dug or dredged clams in every navigable water in the state of New York with a hydraulic dredge, including the town of Southampton. So I pretty much know where your clam beds are and where they're not. But it is a very good thing to consider, and I wish that you take up his lead and continue with that, because the population of clams are waning in many areas, and they need to be replenished, and this is a good way to do that. All right, to get back onto what I'm here for, I will take any comments from anybody,
James, do
public,
we have any more
trustees.
comments
Well,
or
let me
anything?
ask, is anybody else in the public that's here that would like to speak specifically for this public hearing for this applicant at 7 Trins Lane in Hampton Bays?
Or on Zoom.
Or on Zoom? Anybody on Zoom? Charles, got their hand up?
No, sir.
Nobody's got their hand up. Is that a hand? No,
No, just adjusting my glasses.
just an adjustment.
James, do we have any other comments? I mean, I know we have addressed several people, but nothing new?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay,
We got anything, Joe?
so I think we had a,
That's it for me.
okay.
All right, feel free to. Motion?
Motion to close the hearing and,
I mean, is there a need for a
I-
2-week comment period, or just?
I think we've had plenty of comments. We've had very little, if any, public interest. I mean, if we had, we would have addressed it, which we have addressed any concerns. So I
Yeah.
think I think we can close it and, look forward to voting on it.
Okay,
Okay.
so is that a motion?
Motion
I will
to
give him a
close.
second. Is there an authorizing resolution offered
Is it,
today?
is an
Or is this-
authorized resolution on for today, James?
No.
No,
So that'd be
let's-
for the next
So
schedule.
why don't we schedule that for the next meeting, an authorizing resolution?
Okay, so I'll second his closure of the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the public hearing is closed.
Public hearing's closed, and it will be on for the next general meeting. All right, Jessica, which would
Thank you.
be,
March 6th.
March
March
6th.
6th? Okay,
1 o'clock.
yep. Thank
Okay, public portion. This is the part of the meeting where you're welcome to address the trustees on any issue that there is, 3-minute limit, outside of any of the other scheduled applications that are on. Anybody on Zoom have their hand up, Charles, for public portion?
No, sir.
Okay. All right, let's close public portion and let's get right to the application for permits.
Okay.
I've got trustee resolution 2023-34. This is a modification of Stephen J. LaSalle at 29 Ogden Lane in Suffolk County Tax Map 902-14-1 2023-30. Recommend its approval.
Second.
Seconded trustee Pell, all in favor?
Aye.
Got resolution 2023-35, modification also. 31 Ogden Lane LLC, 31 Ogden Lane, Suffolk County Tax Map 902-14-1-31. Also recommend this approval of this
Second.
modification. Seconded trustee Pell, all in favor?
Aye.
Got trustee resolution 2023-36. It's a renewal, first renewal for permit GP 000378. I recommend its renewal.
Second.
Seconded trustee Pell, all in favor?
Aye. Trustee resolution 2023-117. Mark, do we have any, from the, as far as the, change of the, paperwork that we had discussed? The meets and bounds?
This isn't the,
I think this is a different,
This is just a
from-
renewal.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a,
This
oh,
is
sorry.
just a clerical typo that
Yeah.
needs to be corrected.
All right, okay.
So it's a recall and
it's-
amend.
Yes, it is.
The next page.
Okay. Recall and amend, 2021 permit number GP 0000228, renewal application first for HM Ocean LLC, 30 Ocean View Drive, Shinnecock, New York. So, like,
Second.
call him in a second on it?
Seconded trustee Pell, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Trustee resolution 2023-37, modification of application of 7 Bayberry LLC, 7 Bayberry Cove Lane, Shinnecock Hills, New York, Suffolk County Tap Map 900-272-1-38.4, body of water, Middle Pond and Honey Pot Pond. We worked on this at work session, so I recommend.
Do you
Second.
want to just explain it?
Basically, it's basically clarifying that there's gonna be,
8 rows
Four
of
lots.
core.
8 rows of core,
Yeah.
8 rows of core logs, basically, supporting the, returns on the, around the bulkhead on the, south and, east and west sides of it. We discussed it at work session, it was agreed that we were going to move forward with this, so I recommend its approval. I need a second.
Second.
Seconded trustee Pell, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Trustee resolution 2023-38, application for 31 Allison Lane LLC, 31 Allison Lane, Hampton Bay, Suffolk County, tax map 900-374-1-22, body of water, Duck Canal and Shinnecock Bay, Foster's Creek. We had just received some, a change in the, application, right, with the adjustment to the, plan, so I'd like to, table this until our next work session.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, so it's tabled until we
Yep.
have the plan
Yep.
straight before we can vote on it.
Yep. Trustee resolution 2023-39, modification of application for Jason Dwarf, 15 Carmel Road, Hampton Bay, Suffolk County, tap map 990
I think it might be 900.
it should be 900. 900-299-1-16, body of water, Shinnecock Bay. We worked on this at work session. It meets all the compliance with the Blue Book, so I recommend its approval. I need a second.
Second.
Seconded trustee Pell, all in favor? Just make note to the,
Yes.
the
The
Scrivener's error that has to be fixed there.
The tax map is not 990, it's 900.
Right, so just,
Correct later on in the resolution.
yeah, it is correct later on, so it's a Scrivener's error, so
Yep.
we'll just fix it.
Okay.
Trustee resolution 2023-40, this is a modification to the application of 188 Redwood LLC, 188 Redwood Road, Village of Sag Harbor, Suffolk County Tax Map 903-1-2-6, body of water, Sag Harbor Cove. We discussed this this modification at work session. I would like to recommend its approval.
Second.
Seconded trustee Pell, all in favor?
Aye.
Next is trustee resolution 2023-41. It's a Applicant is Chris Cole, Cole Environmental Services, 425 Montauk Highway, East Quogue, New York, 11942. The application of Tristan London, 114 June Avenue, Flanders, New York, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-148-2-2.1, Body of Water, Royal Canal. This was worked on at the work session.
Second.
Seconded trustee Pell, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
These are your locations for the
Trustee
applicant.
resolution 2022-348. We have a letter from Mike Dahl and the college. He has questions about several of the areas that we have proposed. I have not had a chance to discuss it with the full board, so I'd like to table this until the next meeting.
Seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
So let's table that until we get that right.
Yes.
We don't want to have to undo, redo.
No.
And going along with that, we have trustee resolution 2023-25. This was a resolution that was prior tabled to authorize professional services of Robert Young, Ph.D. I'm not so sure, are we ready to go with this now?
No, we have to have further discussion,
We do.
so that needs to be tabled.
So you have a
Yeah.
motion, you making a motion to table it?
May I be heard, please?
We'll table it,
It's been 2 months.
yeah. You want to table it?
Yeah,
Please.
we want to do our due diligence.
We're working on it, Aaron, so we appreciate, there's another discussion.
Yeah.
All right, so you're seconding it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so, seconded trustee Warner, we all in favor of tabling this for now, till they work out their issues?
Yep.
Aye, okay.
What meeting is that tabled to?
Next
The
one.
next one.
Okay. We have trustee resolution 2023-42. This is a change in scope for the 2021 Mill Pond Aquatic Habitat Restoration Water Quality Grant. This is about, I believe, clarifying that we are going to reapportion, I believe, some of the,
Do you want to read it into the record?
well, I could
Chris?
read it. I was going to explain it, but I'll read it
Okay.
if that suits you. Whereas the Board of Trustees,
Whichever.
yeah, no,
Just-
that's fine. I'll read it in, that way it's clear. I was going to explain it, but that's fine. Reading will clarify. Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Freeholders and Commonalty of the Town of Southampton adopted a resolution for water quality improvement project funds to be distributed for certain projects pursuant to Town Board Resolution 2021-1002. And whereas the Board of Trustees of the Town of Southampton by letter dated September 27, 2022, have requested a change in scope for the Watermill Aquatic Restoration Project, namely to reallocate a portion of the funding scheduled for additional floating islands to be used for the 2022 fall season removal of invasive aquatic lily pads that are a known contributor to harmful algal blooms. And whereas the Board of Trustees have provided correspondence from Cornell Cooperative Extension that estimates the element of the restoration plan will remove at least 1,349 pounds of nitrogen and 250 pounds of phosphorus that are contributing to Mill Pond's decline. Whereas the town board referred to the request to the Water Quality Committee, who by letter dated October 13th, 2022, indicated that they concur with the findings of Cornell Cooperative, and that this nutrient removal method will have a similar result as the floating islands would have had. And whereas the trustees provided 3 cost estimates, the most expensive being in excess of $58,000. However, this cost included mobilization, demobilization of the harvester, and proper disposal of the lily pads, not at the shoreline as other quotes indicated. And whereas this change is still in conformance with Town Code 140-33, and the project scope will still have the intended effect of nitrogen and phosphorus removal and an overall benefit to the aquatic ecosystem of Mill Pond. Now therefore be it resolved that the trustees hereby approves the change in scope to the Mill Pond Aquatic Habitat Restoration Project to reallocate up to $50,000 from the floating island task and add it to the water lily removal task, subject to the trustees revising the budget and corresponding tasks, so that the town CPF manager and comptroller can track and authorize payments for deliverables, and be it further resolved that the president of the Board of Trustees of the Freeholders and Commonalty of the Town of Southampton is hereby authorized to sign an amended contract reflecting this change.
Good. There's just one correction here in the second paragraph. The work will be done, it was not done fall of 2022. It will be done summer during peak biomass, summer 2023.
Okay.
So I'll second that.
Seconded trustee Warner. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, the next one, 2023-43, this relates to an expenditure at the Spionk Shore Canal. The Spionk Shore Canal is a spot where the trustees manage for the town a docking facility. Our maintenance folks, who do a great job, by the way, trying to piece things together with Band-Aids and whatever else that they have laying around to try and keep things running. Part of the scope of this is a little bit out of their ability for what tools they have and manpower that they have. So in order, in the interest of public safety, to keep that facility open for this coming season, we need to shore up about 80 feet of bulkhead. Now, this area is slated for capital project to be re-bulkheaded, but we're tied up in the permitting process right now. I spoke to our permit agent last week, and he says it's going to be a while. And I think in the best interest of public safety and keeping the facility going, if we work together with the maintenance department, have the contractor come in, fix the 80 feet of bulkhead, and then after they're done, then have our maintenance crew come in and do the boardwalk around to eliminate any of the trip and fall hazards. The people of the town can enjoy their slips without, safety issues, and we can kind of keep the thing running until we do the major reconstruction, obviously pending permits. So we did a quick bid on this thing. The most competitive was South Shore Docks at $4,800. And if the board is inclined to, move in that direction of, working with the town, working with our maintenance department, working with the independent contractor to keep that facility open, I would make a motion to pass
Second.
resolution 2023-40.
And Scott, I believe we did it was a request for quote. No, I don't believe it ever went
Right,
out to bid.
we did it, we did a request for quote. It was not an official bid. It was because time is of the essence relative to the season, and we worked at the direction of the procurement officer of the town at the town comptroller's office, and we did this by these requests, and we did have bids come in, and in full compliance of, at the direction of the town's procurement officer, we have this bid of $4,800.
I'll
Is
second
that,
it.
is that clear, Mark?
That is.
Thank you. Okay, so seconded by trustee Pell. Are we all in favor to hand?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay. Thank you.
Trustee Resolution 2023-44, authorize the purchase of coastal T-shirts and trustee pins. Whereas the Board of Trustee Resolution 2023-1 requires authorized resolution for any expenditure exceed of $1,000. Whereas the trustees need coastal T-shirts and trustee pins with new logo on it. The trustees have obtained quotes from J&G Awards in Sports, authors, seller of T-shirts, and a pair of cost of $21.40 using the town resolution 2023-29. Contract with J&L is now therefore be it. Trustee authorized the purchase of T-shirts and for the coastal stewards and trustee pins be it. The source of funding should be GL SN 9987-00-6420-000 in a amount not to exceed $21.40. This is for the Pipe and Plover people.
Okay, I'll second it.
I'm good with it, yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Trustee Resolution 2023-45, resolution authorizing the president to sign a letter authorizing granting permission to engage in horseshoe crab monitoring with Cornell Cooperative Extension of Suffolk County for the 2023 season. We've done this for as many years I've been on the board, so I recommend that
Second.
we approve it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, moving back to Spionk Shore, we have trustee resolution 2023-46. This is an authorization for the purchase of fir plywood for Spionk Shore's emergency repairs You know, as I said, part of it will have to be done by the contractor. The other part will be done by the diligent efforts of our very talented marine maintenance crew. So if you feel so inclined, they're gonna need this material, $1,861.75. Now, again, this is not a long-term fix, this is a temporary fix. We gotta get through a couple of seasons, at the very least this season, before hopefully we can get these permits and fix this whole place with new bulkhead.
Do we have a time frame?
A time frame in terms of what?
A real repair, a real replacement?
I had a conversation with Suffolk Environmental, it could be a couple of years, he said. So I asked him to please advise myself when he hits a point where there's some stumbling point. But I have been having communications with him, he is diligently working on it. As we're all aware, it took us 6 years to get a 5-year permit at Mecox. He's working on it, we're working on it, but we don't want to see, number one, any public safety issues, which is what's existing there. And number two, you know, people use this, that's where they keep their boats, and, the marine is, it's really a great deal for people to keep these boats there, but you want it to be safe. So we can fix it if we all work together, keep this running, and then hopefully our permits come through sooner than later, then we'll go out to bid for the rest of the project and get all new bulkheading and get it all squared away, and it'll be a beautiful facility, but they've been doing the best that they can to kind of keep things running.
They've been
But
doing a great job.
It's really at a point right now where, you know what, you can't patch anymore. They pretty much patched everything you can patch, and double and triple patch with everything that they have. I mean, one spot looks like they used an old sign to patch something, so.
So this is what I wanted to just bring up, I know that perhaps we'll go forward with this, but this is patching with plywood, and I had requested just a rough estimate for the south side of the marina, and it's about 340 linear feet, and it would be in the neighborhood of $21,000, just under $21,000, to replace the decking as well as the framing there, and that's not including hardware, nuts, bolts, and so forth. So just as a
Reference, yeah, well,
comparison.
that's why we're moving in this direction, because it is, emergency repair. It's not, that kind of money we'll get involved with when we get to the long-term capital project. Here, it's public safety issue, and it's a get this thing squared away for this season so people can enjoy their boats.
Right, but that's why I was asking, what is it in
Right.
terms of time frame?
I would say ASAP, that's why we.
No, I mean in terms of replacing, like
Oh,
doing a
well,
proper
that's, yeah,
fix
I
on
mean,
this.
you know the answer to that question. All right, so we go with this? I made the motion to get them
Second.
supplies that they need. Seconded, trustee Pell, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Trustee Resolution 2023-47. This is to authorize payment to H2M Architects and Engineers for sediment sampling and analysis and environmental services for Fresh Pond, Village of North Haven. This was sediment analysis that was requested by DEC in order to move forward with the renewal of the permit for dredging Fresh Pond. This work has been done. We have the money allocated for it. I'd like to request its approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I have a question on this next resolution.
Yeah, I have the same question, but
We
I,
think we
Well-
should table this.
well, I think, well,
It's boating season coming up.
yeah, but I think we should, boating season's coming up and it's about safety. I think we need to do as we always do, diligently,
Then we work it
and
out
then
later.
work it out later. But I understand, because we're all having the same
But is
question.
there an aspect of the town sign could be made by the signs? The town can make the signs?
I think these are big signs. think
I know
you were
they're
saying.
4x5 and
Yeah.
they're big signs. I don't know, but I mean,
I don't know how
I
big
know,
they
I know
can make.
historically we paid for these, but it was brought to our attention today that the town should be paying for this.
Right, and we could work that out with, as was pointed out, with chargebacks, or what have you, back and forth of the way things work. But at the end of the day, you want to have, this is,
Safety.
This
Yeah,
is
this is-
public safety, so
yeah, it
if,
boils down to public safety, and you don't want to jam that up. You want to
Okay.
take care of it, and then we can figure out the rest of it.
Trustee Resolution 2023-48, authorize the expenditure for boat and signs, where the boat and signs keep the Southampton town waters safe, and whereas fishes, signs, and shirts have furnished a quote and have Southampton town contract, where the Board of Trustee Resolution 2023-1 requires a authorized resolution for any expended in exceed of $1,000. So now therefore be it resolved, the trustees authorize the purchase of boat signs from Fisher Signs and Shirts, and to be at further resolved is that the source of funds should, of the Board of Trustees, other GL SN -998790 -006420 -0000, the amount to not exceed $1,680
second,
out of the GL.
Seconded, trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Thanks.
All right, we got an official trustee resolution 2023-49. It's a resolution of board thanks to some of our residents. And again, I talked earlier in the meeting about synergies and collaboration. And, Jen Halsey Dupree, James McGregor, and John Halsey, who have been presenting on Mecox Bay and helping this board in getting our points across and regulatory authorities and really have been. I'd like to also add a name on here, this gentleman, Henry Goss, who's also been very helpful and instrumental in that as well. I think that, it's always been, in working with the people, especially regionally, for, community issues and seeking resolution, and I think that we do owe them a very high degree of thanks for their tenacity and their assistance in helping us
You did a very good job.
get the, and we've got, we still have a lot of work to do. We have our permits in place and, but still, I mean, you still rely on good, boots on the ground knowledge and information, and they certainly have a world of it. And
Well, I'd like to make a point because they have given us good guidance, and being that our permit that we have gotten from the DEC for 5-year dredging permit took us 6 years to get, and we're 4 years out of this one expiring. It could be problematic moving forward. With some of the information that was gathered and presented to this board, it could be gratefully helpful in preparing a permit much quicker.
absolutely.
Yes.
So I put that resolution forward.
I'll
Second.
second it.
Yep, I just want to make one
Sure.
point of clarification, just because there are numerous John Halseys. This is John L. Halsey.
Yeah, that's not in the resolution, but thank you. To clarify, we give him the L, no extra charge.
All right.
Okay, so all in favor?
Aye. Trustee Resolution 2023-50. This is to reject bids and open a second notice to bidders for water lily removal in Mill Pond. I'm not going to read the whole bid, I don't think, as
Yeah.
we've gone through it previously, but I just want to, we are reopening this bid because there was some clarification needed with the bid specifications, and we have now, thanks to several addendums, clarified those, and so therefore we are reopening the bid as of,
And that was under the advice and guidance of the procurement officer of the town.
thank you, yes. Yep. So these specs will be available beginning Thursday, February 23rd, 8:30 a.m., and the bid will close Wednesday, March 15th by 2 p.m. So I'd like a second on this, please.
Second it.
Seconded, trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
And it's on which website that the
town website?
town website
Yes.
they can get
For-
the information?
Yes.
Very good.
There's a link to it. I can,
They will-
southamptonny.iqm2.com, Citizens Media ASPX. It'll be in our minutes too, and it's available. if
There's
you want.
contractors that watch that thing like a hawk. right?
Yes.
Go ahead, Edward.
Trustee Resolution 2023-51, notice of public hearing on amendments of Blue Book. A30, amending the management and practices and products of the waters of the town of Southampton, Article XIX, Section 92, agriculture deployment of equipment. We're gonna have a public hearing, we're scheduling it for Monday, March 6th at 2023 at 1 o'clock. I recommend that we,
I will second the
Schedule this.
scheduling of a public hearing for Monday, March 6, 2023 at 1 o'clock.
And it's to clarify some language within the aquaculture.
correct. It was brought
The
to us.
Yeah, that was brought forward, so
Correct.
in regards to deployment of equipment.
Right, deployment of equipment. So March 6, 2023.
Second.
Seconded trustee Welker, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Notice of public hearing on the amendment of Blue Book A340, amending the management and products of the waters of the town of Southampton, Article 7, Section 47, permits required electrical. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the freeholders in commonality, I always have problems with that, of the town of Southampton directs that a public hearing shall be held
You
on
did
March
good.
6, 2023, also at 1 o'clock. The legislative intent, Board of Trustees for town desires to update that Blue Book. Require all projects that have a component involving installation of electrical fixtures, obtain an electrical permit from the building department for the jurisdiction where the construction will take place. So I'd like to make the motion, have that hearing March 6th.
Second.
Seconded trustee Pell, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Page 25.
25, trustee Pell.
Trustee Resolution 2023-53, warrant number 3 of 2023 for the trustees. Per recommendation by the review by the town comp control, the following vendors' payment of warrant 3 to be approved to amount of $7,984.35. Warrant number 3. One mounted check was issued to the amount of $31,948.33 payable to the law office of Con and Con for legal service. Now therefore be it the further resolve of this following invoice be approved for payment. Be Ready Fishburg Hattery, $2,381.25. Card member service, $3,879.19. Call ahead, $50. Fisher's sign and shirts, $195. Interscience, $368.49. Lighthouse Marine, $87.28. Riverhead Building, $225.55. Tris, $48.58. W. Mason, $749.01. The total for that is $7,984.35.
Second.
Second trustee Welker, all in favor?
Aye.
I would like to ask the board for permission to walk on a resolution.
Second.
Seconded trustee Pell, all in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to ask trustee Welker to handle the resolution.
Trustee Resolution 2023-54, to authorize reimbursement to the town of Southampton for grant writing services. Whereas pursuant to the Town Board Resolution 2023-204, the town entered into a contract with Messiano Consulting, Inc. for grant writing and research services. Whereas the Board of Trustees recommend enlisting the services of Messiano Consulting, Inc. for grant writing assistance, and whereas the Board of Trustees Resolution 2023-1 requires an authorizing resolution for any expenditure in excess of $1,000, and resolve that the Board of Trustees will reimburse the town of Southampton for expenses related to grant writing assistance provided by Messiano Consulting, Inc., and be further resolved that the source of funding shall be from consultants GLSN 99-8790-00 6490-0000 in an amount not to exceed $3,000. I'd like a second on this.
Second.
Second trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Okay, so I know we have a lengthy executive session. Is there anything that the trustees need to discuss here on the tail end?
Just a quick mention, Mecox Inlet was opened at just about noon today. So
Good.
the bay level will be, yes, significantly lowered shortly, and hopefully the salinity and dissolved oxygen levels will be increased.
Thank you for that report. What I want to just bring the trustees up to speed on is something that I have been working on and we've been talking about for quite some time. I have here I can put this up, I know Charles likes to put things up sometimes so that the public can see what it is that we're talking about. This is a dredge survey that was done, and this is the southern end of the Shinnecock Canal, specifically in the area of Red 34 and Red 32. And you can see that the areas in red at mean low water, this was done on December 30th, 2022. The areas in red are all showing less than 5 feet of water in the intracoastal channel, supposed to be maintained by the Army Corps of Engineers. So I have been in discussions several times back and forth with Congressman Lalota's office as the conduit to the Army Corps of Engineers to try and get some focus on getting this dredged. It's approximately 3,300 cubic yards of material that has to be moved. It's a safety issue, it's a commerce issue. This is the one conduit to get from the Shinnecock Canal to the Shinnecock Inlet or any other point south. You have a lot of large vessels that rely on that navigable waterway, and as you can see in that survey, there are times when it's not very navigable for the types of vessels that have to go in and out of there. So they did a fabulous job on this. The conversation is official and ongoing. And I will update the board as we move through this process. The County of Suffolk generally does do a lot of dredging for the trustees through our program utilizing the priority dredge list, but it's been ascertained that this section of the bay is under the jurisdiction for dredging of the Army Corps of Engineers. So therefore, we are working at the federal level. So we have this document. There was some confusion at the onset because of the design. When you first look at it, they thought that they were perhaps confusing it with the Shinnecock Inlet, which is going to be dealt with very shortly as a result of other federal program, the WOC project, FIMP project. This is not part of that, but it still has to be done. People have been banging their wheels, meaning they've been bending their propellers on their boat, they've been damaging their rudders, they've been damaging their shafts. This is not good. It's not good for commerce for our town. People want to come here without having a problem, especially when you are in the center of an intracoastal waterway. Should be navigable channel. So we're working on this officially, and I wanted you all to see, what this looked like. You can get copies of this if you need it, but I wanted you to see it, and at least the public to get a look at it.
There's
So-
currently no dredging permit for this.
There's currently no dredging permit, and we're looking for fast-track guidance of how it is that they want, who's going to take the responsibility to get these permits, and there's also no budget for this, even if they said so. We have to work out all of this. So we're at the beginning of an official conversation. We have a real good survey here, and you have the folks from the Congressman's office working on it. So, does anybody else have anything else that they want to bring up before we go?
Yeah, I had a conversation with Suffolk County DPW about dredging the east channel in the bay. We're going to enlist the bay constables to go over there once we receive the navigable channel where it was supposed to be drawn from the Suffolk County DPW. We're going to ask the bay constables to do depth soundings in that channel to determine whether it needs to be dredged this fall or not.
Okay.
And just one more thing. Sorry, Scott, were you going to follow up on that?
Yeah, and I'm just going to say, there's also some additional survey work that was done that I'm going to make available to you that I think that they have at the Congressman's office as well. So, okay, go ahead, Ian.
There is a collaborative project with Sag Harbor Village, the Southampton Town Highway Department, and the Southampton Town trustees at Round Pond in Sag Harbor, and there are public hearings that are upcoming for this project. This coming Wednesday, the 15th of February at Town Hall at 6:30, and the following Wednesday, the 22nd of February, at Sag Harbor Village Hall, also at 6:30 PM. So these are informational. If the public is welcome to come and speak for or against this project. This project has been a long time coming, and it will be a good project for Round Pond, which is part of the Long Pond Greenbelt. It's a rain garden, it's removal of some of the pavement leading down to it, it's removal of a bulkhead. It's a big project, and it's been a long time coming.
Thank you. Thank you. If there's nothing else? Anything, trustee Parish?
I was curious why the board members tabled the retention of Robert Young. What's left to be done in retaining?
My apologies for not having gotten that. There is a consultant who has presented to the board, and we're going to be discussing it in an executive session this afternoon.
Okay.
So, that was the
So
holdup. I thought it would be discussed,
it's
yeah.
seeking
It's-
someone
yes,
else.
Yes,
Another.
we're getting a second opinion,
Okay.
so working on it.
Trustee, anybody else? Okay. All right, so at this point in time in the meeting, I think that I would like to thank everybody for coming here today and thank the public as well. Our staff, our maintenance crew, Charles Certain, who does a great job. Got our assistant town attorney here, helping us keep the ship in the channel, and special counsel as well. James, thank you. Jeff. So I'd like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting and go into executive session for further personnel and litigation matters.
Second.
Seconded, trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, meeting adjourned. Have a nice day, everybody.